So hello and welcome to the tutorial in how to create a good looking terra in Blender. All the textures are in the description and let's get straight into it. Did a plane and applied a 6 subdivision on it and added this placement map with the name big. Also added a texture for my displacement named big. Then I went to the texture tab and applied a cloud texture so that it looks like a map. I played around with the size and the depth so that it looked more detailed, and then I added smooth shading on it so it does not look too pixelated and more realistic. Then I decreased the size of the strength in the displacement and added another displacement called small. So this is for the minor details. I also added the clouds and played with the size and the depth, but kept it all a little bit lower. And I also added the cell noise in the bases of the small displacement, which I think it looks quite cool. Increased the strength. Yeah. Now to create the grass. I started off with a plane and I wanted to add the grass with textures, so I added a material. First of all, switch to cycles render because we want to use the node editor. I think the node editor is quite fun and cool. You can create really realistic things with it. So I searched for a texture that I liked, unwrapped the plane and scaled it so that the texture looks natural. And how do we get this now transparent? First of all, we need to add a transparent shader, BSDF, and mix it with the normal texture. And also you need to add the alpha tab in the factor of the mix shader. And what you also need to do is in the settings of the material set the alpha to 0. So now we have a quite good bush, but I want to have some more bushes. So I started off with the next one. I made it a little bit higher, another texture, and yeah, just different, so that we had a little bit place to play around here. And then I added my grass bushes and I just decreased the grass a little bit and just randomly placed it everywhere so it looked quite cool. This was my first grass bush and I made another grass bush, which you can see here. It also looks quite good and you can play with it pretty well. So now I created the stones. I added the subsurf modifier by 1, added it and actually enabled the proportional editing. I just played around with it a little bit so it looked like this. Then also UV unwrapped it and added the texture on it. Looks quite cool, doesn't it? But I just wanted to have one stone. I wanted to have some variety. So I added another stone and just added it a little bit different, bigger and longer, just like a normal stone, and another quite smaller. Yeah, this will do. Now how to texture the map. I quickly add a normal texture on it and then went to the texture paint and painted another texture over it. And after some fixing details and playing around with the painting, I came up with this. Looks quite cool, doesn't it? I played a little bit around with the contrast and the brightness, so I got a cool looking texture which I can paint on. Now it's time to add the grass and the stones in. But how do I do that? Add the grass on the map. First of all, I created a particle system and changed it from emitter to hair. Then I went to the render tab, to object, and selected there my grass. Now you can see there's grass all over the place, but I don't want that. I want grass only on specific areas. How do I do that? I went to the weight paint and painted a little bit, and then added this weight paint in the vertex groups to density, so the grass only grows there where the red things was. After adding in all the stones and the different bushes, it looks quite cool, I think. So, but now we have all of this, we need now some trees and water. The water I already did off camera, it wasn't that fancy, just a plain. Added the texture on it and mixed it with a transparency shader. I also add a little displacement on the water so it does not look that straight. And yeah, looks quite cool. The bluish effect is there. You can see that it is water. Now to the tree. Now, you first of all need to enable the add curve sapling tree gen in the properties, and then through curve you add the sapling tree. There you will find many options how you can tweak this tree, and I just played a little bit around with it, so you can also play around. It's not that hard, quite easy to understand what the different things means in the settings, bevel, and add some leaves. And this is how my finished tree looks like. But I wanted to texture my tree, but I can't do that because the tree is a curve. So I needed to convert the curve tree into a mesh tree. I pressed Alt C and selected mesh from curve. So now it's actually a mesh and I can apply a material to it. Cool. And this is how my finished tree looks like. I also texturized the leaves and I placed the tree all over the place. Not quite too fancy. And this is what it looks like in rendered mode. I also added a dynamic sky, what you can't see here, but a dynamic sky is also not that difficult. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. All textures are in the comments.